Welcome to the LANCave. We're here living as nerds, talking gaming news, nerd news, all kinds of stuff. We rant about stuff, and we try not to make up too much. I'm joined by Owen, as per usual, rocking out the Zelda.
Hello!
Merch. Yeah. Yeah, we need more Zelda stuff. Like, I got Zelda stuff, you got Zelda stuff.
Well, and also reposition my camera a little bit now so you can actually see the shelf. Oh, if you don't know if you notice that. Like, it's cute, right?
Oh, yeah, I noticed it. What's really funny, I should put my shield back up just to confuse people. So then when we switch between, like, wait, there's two shields? Yes, there's two shields.
And the paint is colored different.
It's the multiverse. It's the multiverse there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're here giving you gaming news like we do every single week. This is a big week for this has been a big month for nerds, or past 30 days I should say, because we had Endgame and we just had the ending of Game of Thrones. No spoilers, but what did you think of the end? Non-spoiler, what did you think of the end?
It was fine.
Yeah,
like it was the best episode of the season, but like I mentioned, that's not really hard to do. Because it really was not a good season in my opinion. I know that's hotly debated though. But the episode itself was fine, albeit rushed, as the rest of the season was.
I'd say the past two seasons have been really rushed. I would have preferred 2 full seasons. Now they were like, oh, we have 1.5 hour episodes. Yeah, we need more time. Like, in order to properly tell that story, we needed more time. And I don't know. We could blame.
And it's weird to hear about the showrunners, like how they were offered like more, like basically they could have had more days, or I mean not more days, more episodes.
Yeah. And
they just chose not to, and they're like, we can get it done. That's a weird thing to hear.
They did say at the onset that they were going to do 7 seasons, and then they pushed it to 8. But yeah, they should have kept going. There's so much more there's more in the books that are out, as well as, other things that he could have filled them in on. But there's storylines that just completely got dropped from the books that there's a lot that they could have done.
I mean, those books are fat.
Yeah.
Those books are super fat. I mean, they get another show, and then they set up, we won't say for who or what, but if it wasn't completely obvious, they left the door open for a spin-off show for a character as well.
They're not going to do it. George R. R. Martin already said, like, he's not giving the rights to anybody to do anything as a sequel to it, because he doesn't have any source material, so he would have to be like, oh, okay, well, I'll let you make up stuff. And he doesn't want them to do that, so... But yeah, I agree.
Eventually.
When
I just think it'll happen eventually. I just don't think
they're estate or something. You think?
Yeah.
After he passes away,
or like he'll be done writing them, and he'll be like, "F it, I don't care, go for it."
You think he's really going to be finished?
No, I mean he did. I think he came out yesterday or today and said that the next book, not the last book, but the next book should be finished no later than 2020.
Yeah. It should have been like 2 years ago, and we should be waiting for the final book. Like, this is... Yeah, there's... my buddy Frank, shout out to Frank, he was talking to me about... We were discussing, like, he has said repeatedly that the shows are not going to influence the way that he's writing the books. But how can it not? Frank basically was like, how can you not look and see what backlash is happening, and then look at what you were writing and go, okay, is this enough? Am I doing it right? Will people like this? You either have to, I mean, he basically said he may have some performance anxiety about this. It's either that, or he's way too busy doing everything else other than writing the books.
Is he confirmed to having watched the show? Like, has he actively said that he watches the show? Because I'm sure he might, but
there's conflicting reports.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if it was me, I don't know if I could watch it, because it's like I wrote these books and these guys are messing it up, even though I gave them permission to mess it up, and I don't know if I could. Like, he's come out and said things about the show, but it always makes me wonder, do you actually watch the show?
Yeah.
Or do you just like read the scripts and you're like, okay, I know what happens?
Well, he was really involved early on, and then he has become less involved. And I've seen in interviews where he said that he doesn't watch, or he doesn't have time to watch it. but at the same time, he's a huge football fan, and I know you are too. So I'm not trashing that, but I'm like, if you say you don't have time to watch, I'm just saying, if you don't have time to watch your show, we have time to watch football. But I agree with you. Like, he created this, and some artists, like some actors, don't want to watch their own movies because they did that, they experienced it, and I would want to watch it not out of vanity, but just to see it as a completed thing. That being said, he's working with them on the prequels. He's executive producing like 2 other shows with them, and money. Yeah, and a video game.
Yeah, did you hear about that?
I did. So it's still in rumor territory.
Went to Japan.
Yeah, it's still in rumor territory supposedly, as to what he's doing. Rumor is it's From Software.
Yeah. If From Software makes a Game of Thrones game, I don't know, dude. Like, good for From Software. That would be a huge IP get for them, and they're already a big company as it is, and one of the biggest video game companies of the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But I don't. Do you want a Game of Thrones video game?
Okay, so I played the Telltale Game of Thrones game, and I will argue with anybody out there who disagrees with me. That is the best way to do a Game of Thrones game, because Game of Thrones isn't about the combat. It's not about the dragons. I mean, okay, battles happen. That's great. That's important. But it's more about character development. It's more about the choices. It's more about surprises. And I think Telltale did a better job with that than the other. There's another Xbox game. I think it's on PS3 as well, Xbox 360, and it was trash, in my opinion.
Well, didn't Sekiro have some story?
Oh no, yeah, Sekiro has story. It does, but I'm just saying, like, it's still very action based. Yeah. I'm just saying I would rather have something that's just concentrating on the story and the choices and the dialogue. And if you're playing an action game that has a ton of dialogue and choices, and it's a weird mix, I would prefer it to be more along the story. But then again, I mean, I could be surprised. They could it could do very well. It could be a nice balance. I
think no matter what, it's got to do well. Like, unless it turns out to be some company that's not From Software that's not any good, that game's gonna sell. I mean, the show just ended. Like, if there was a better time to release the Game of Thrones games, it's in the next year.
To announce it at least.
No,
to announce it.
Well,
release it would be great, of course, but I'm saying I don't think it's ready. But I would absolutely love, in my opinion, I would prefer it to be, and I'm a fan of Dark Souls, but I'd prefer it to be like Square Enix instead of From.
I don't know. I mean, Square Enix has really taken a dive off a cliff recently. They're looking to save it with Final Fantasy VII, but they're having a rough decade.
No, that's true. That is true. But I'm just thinking, like, if I were to give it to a studio, I'd
give it to Ubi.
Ubi'd be amazing. That'd be a great song.
Especially for open world games. Like, I mean, obviously, if you were gonna go open world, you'd like want Rockstar, but Ubisoft, in their own right, like Far Cry 5 became one of, I don't know if you heard about this, and I didn't put this on there just because it didn't really matter, but Far Cry 5 was one of Ubisoft's best sellers in the history of their company.
Wow. It's a great game. That's a great game. Great storytelling. Again, great mix of storytelling and action. Yeah.
And open world. Like, I think if you, like, Westeros, right? You'd want to ride around Westeros, right?
Yes, I would. Okay, I know there's a bunch of riding. There would be a ton of riding or whatever, but there's a ton of, like, towns and houses that you could go up to. There's so many prominent houses that could have their own, like, cities.
Quest lines.
Yeah. All of them have their own quest lines. You could really dive into, the difference between the Vale and then have DLC if you want to go to Dorne as DLC. Obviously, the North may be a DLC as well, but there's a lot that could be done. Not that I'm immediately thinking of DLC, but I'm like, yeah, you're going to have something.
It's 2019. We're always immediately thinking of DLC.
We are.
I had the brief thought of just how funny it would be, like, you don't have fast travel unlocked right away, and then right around like 75% through the game, you unlock fast travel, and then it's like the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Oh, that'd be so fitting. That'd be so fitting. Speaking of DLC, though, I've been playing Zelda, and my source video is gone right here, so I'll have to put that in later for some reason. I've been playing Zelda because I realized I hadn't done the Champions Ballad and a few other DLC. Yeah, so I mean, I was already replaying Zelda anyways because why not? Breath of the Wild, obviously. I was replaying that and realized, oh well, I didn't do Champions Ballad. I did the trials, but I only did the first level of the trials. I may go further than that. Those things got really frustrating to me. I don't know how far you got on the trials of the Master Sword. First one was okay. Second one's been pretty rough so far.
Beat it.
You beat them all? All right. Yeah, see, I didn't.
Oh, yeah. I beat everything in that game except for like Master Mode or whatever it's called, where you get one hit KO. But I beat every piece of content.
Yeah. Master Mode, Master Quest, whatever it is. Yeah, I started that, and as a Dark Souls player, that's too hard. It's needlessly hard. Like, what? Yeah, it's needlessly hard. Like, you're playing it, and like I always forget the names of the really big guys that come up from the ground. Not the rock ones, the ones that are like sleeping, and they've got their Cyclops kind of things.
The ogres.
Yeah, so they heal. So you do a little bit of damage, and then they heal. So like if you haven't done enough damage to them, they'll heal up. So I had, way too much difficulty for that game. I had too much difficulty. I would rather have, like, in my opinion, like the regular playthrough of the game. And I know Guardians, if you know what you're doing, they're not too challenging. But I like that level of challenge as opposed to like the Master Mode was just ridiculously hard to me.
Terrible at the shield thing, like. You see what do they call it? Parrying. I suck at parrying, so I was never any good against the Guardians unless I had the Master Sword, and then it was just kind of like it's on.
To me, it was just like try to glide down, hit them with an arrow to stun them if you can, take out their legs. So I found ways to do it and everything, but I've liked the game. Other than that, the Champions Ballad, that's been challenging and difficult because that's a one hit. That's a one-hit kill for if they hit you and if you hit them with that special weapon. That's been interesting, though. What have you been playing?
So me and the wife finished yesterday to episode 3. Obviously, it won't go into it because it's a story-based game, but really good. I was really surprised. I'm still upset with Don't Nod with how long it's taking. So the first episode came out in September of last year. We're just now getting episode 3, and it's May. And we're not getting the 4th and 5th episodes till later in the year. So it's been a real frustrating games. The third one starts out really slow, and then it gets super intense. And for a second, I thought that we were in episode 4 because of the way 3 ends. It ends on a very holy crap moment, and you would think that that's when they turn into the last episode, but we get 2 episodes left. So if you haven't checked out Life is Strange 1 or 2, I definitely suggest 1. It's one of my favorite games. 2 is good so far, but if you are annoyed with the length of time between episodes, you could definitely wait until like September or October. But it's also been very good. It starts off really slow. The first episode's kind of slow, but 2 and 3 have been really solid.
I started the first season and I liked it. It was one that I wanted to play with Whitney, so I have not played further. But I've liked what I've played of it. Especially
Game of the year 2015.
Yep. Yeah, especially with my love of Telltale games and really story-driven games. I really like it. And also it's really nice to be able to play them. It's more of I wouldn't say that's a passive experience, but it's almost an in-between of watching a movie versus playing a game, especially if you're doing this in a group or as a couple. Getting to play these games and kind of talk through different choices, I think, is really interesting. Do you guys talk when while it's going on? Make commentary?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's
she helps. I do all the playing because that's just not her bag. So I do all the walking around, and for most of the time I make the decisions, but she will voice pretty quickly if she has a specific choice. And it's always funny to see the lines that we both tread, because she, being the rule follower, she doesn't normally like doing any decisions that would be like negative or like badly character, not a rocking the boat type thing. And then I try and play it realistic. Like in this case, in Life is Strange 2, you're playing as a teenage kid who's looking after his little brother. Mm-hmm. And so I try and play it like I'm in the mind of like that teenage kid. So like there's an opportunity to like hit on a girl. And I was like, of course I do this, and I do it awkwardly because that is how a teenage kid is there's awkward hitting on.
Yeah, of course. No,
so I gotta do it.
I will say that I tend to, when I first started playing games that allowed those kind of choices, outside of like a D&D kind of thing, my first time playing a game like that was Mass Effect, and I started playing Mass Effect 2 before realizing the perks of just playing either straight Paragon or straight Renegade, and I still ended up playing almost completely Paragon because that's just kind of how I am. Like I was trying to resolve conflicts, I was trying to do good and trying to help people, but now I've gotten to the point where I will set out and play a game and go, okay, this is how I'm playing this character. Like if you're playing Batman Telltale games, I was like, all right, I am playing arrogant Bruce Wayne, I'm playing ruthless Batman, or I'll play, I would go into the session knowing that and continue that character's storyline that way. So I kind of have a mix, but if I don't on the onset do that, I'm totally a goody two shoes. So
yeah, I bet there would be a cool psychological study that could be conducted where like they give you like a personality test, but they also make you play a decision-based game like this as a personality test too, to see what you choose versus what you are in real life. Because there's also people, right, that would play the exact opposite. They're like, I'm a goody two shoes in real life, so I'm gonna play the bad boy in this video game because I'm living vicariously through the video game.
It's like if I play Grand Theft Auto, I wouldn't do anything that they do in Grand Theft Auto. Right. But I love Grand Theft Auto, so yeah. Yeah,
it's like every once in a while I need to get 5 stars, and I need to see how long before they arrest me or kill me.
Yeah.
It just happens.
It's fun. How's PUBG Mobile? You said you've been playing some of that too.
I've been playing way too much PUBG Mobile. Don't ask me why either. I was sitting there and I didn't want to get up and get my Switch, and I didn't want to get up and get the PlayStation controller. So instead of doing anything, I re-downloaded PUBG Mobile because I had archived it because it takes up like 2 gigs on my phone.
Yeah.
I re-downloaded it, and since then, I've been doing some slaying. I'm a lot better at this game than I thought I would be. It's amazing how much better I am on the mobile versus how I am on the computer. On the computer, I'm not good at all. And on this game, I'm constantly a top 10 player. It's weird. I get multiple kill games. It's nice being good at a multiplayer video game, so I think that's why I keep playing.
Yeah.
But it's also just if you like battle royales, there's also Fortnite that's available. But if you don't want to do any building whatsoever and you kind of want some serious stuff, PUBG Mobile is free.
Yeah,
and it's
fun. I probably would like that more because I'm terrible at the building aspect. Like if it was not a game that had both of them and it became so prominent that. It's the same thing happened with me with Fortnite as happened with me and Rocket League. Like I was having fun, I was doing well. The meta game changed in Rocket League when people learned how to aerial and like rocket yourself up into the air. And as soon as people got really good at that, I had to make a decision of like I need to buckle down and get really good at that. Or don't.
Never play this game ever again.
And that's kind of what happened with both of those games, because like building things became not just a way to get around, but it became like a defensive strategy to like build a wall and keep building stuff in front of you as you travel and avoid gunplay. And it got to the point where I'm like, I can't keep up with that without putting in the time, and I just decided not to put in the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's free and it's fun to play. Again, it's one of those things where I'm playing it while I'm not getting up and literally too lazy to go pick up many of the other controllers that I have. But not ashamed to admit that I play a mobile game every day.
No.
It's a safe space, right?
It's a safe space. I got hooked on a mobile game a couple times. Once relatively heavily. I mean, I didn't spend a bunch of money or anything on it. I didn't spend very much at all. But it was to the point where I was like, it was running down the battery on my phone so bad that I had to have a charger around me everywhere because I was pretty much addicted to playing this game. If I wasn't playing it, I was setting it up to set something to be ready for me later. That's just not helpful.
What game was that?
That was Summoner's War. Because myself and a coworker of mine and a couple other people were all playing it all at the same time. And
like an action RPG?
It's not an action RPG. It's kind of one of those games. It's like an RPG, but not really an RPG. It's like you collect different beasts, if you will. Some are like animalistic. Some are like sorcerers. Like you collect these things, you create this team to battle with.
Oh, okay.
So when you start, you get some trash, and then when you can do like dungeon kind of stuff, but you're doing it with a team of like, think of it like a team Pokemon, except you also have like sorcerers and witches and other things that also yeah so it was fun, and it also, I could like set up a bunch of stuff and then like be like, all right, cool, I don't have to do this for like, those are all gonna be ready in 2 hours. But then I'd be like, set a timer on your phone to remind you in 2.5 hours.
That's when you know you're hooked.
That's when you're hooked. So I had to get out of it. Anyways, but we can talk about confessions and stuff later. I do want to move on to what I think is one of the biggest topics of our show, which is Sony and Microsoft teaming up. What? As soon as I read through what was going on, everything made sense to me. Sony's online platform, because basically they're teaming up. It's been very vague as to what they're doing, but they're talking about cloud services and online. And what we both have played PlayStation Online stuff, so we know how weak that is in comparison to Xbox. Xbox, PC, all of that community, not only the community, but the infrastructure, everything is better. Security. And I think what happened here was, from a business standpoint, the two of them realized the cloud infrastructure portion, we both can get money, we both can get lots of money if we just pair up. My guess is this is going to be the next gen of PlayStation Online, will be on the Microsoft Azure servers, and if they're doing that, they have cross-connect into Microsoft's own software. So I'm hoping this means much more crossplay. Either way, we're going to get a better gaming online gaming environment for console players, which is crazy important nowadays, especially with they're going to have to be competing with Stadia. Stadia is going to be a huge player that hardly anyone is really talking about yet, but when Stadia comes out, like, I told Whitney about it, and she's already like, so we can buy games. Like, she was trying to figure out, like, is it a subscription? Like, I don't know, but that can just take over your living room.
E3.
What's that?
We'll find out at E3, hopefully.
We will find, hopefully.
About Stadia.
Yeah.
So what's weird about this, and what I'm surprised that not more people are talking about, is that Microsoft's already kind of had a little bit of this going. Not the cloud-based services, but we've seen how Microsoft has extended a hand to Nintendo. In the past 6 months, they've been talking with them. They just had Cuphead come out on the Switch. There's been rumors that we have reported on this show about Xbox Live services on Switch. And then we hear this last week, pretty much right after the show was over, it's like the next day, that now we got a deal with Sony going on. This is crazy because Microsoft, I don't think they're getting out of the making video game business, but these deals with Nintendo, these deals with Sony, like, it seems like they're setting themselves up as a possible infrastructure to everyone. Just think about that. Like a Sony, Nintendo, everybody uses Microsoft Azure in the long run, maybe, or there's opportunities for Xbox Live usage. Like, imagine PSN, a mask over Xbox Live, which is a way more functional online platform than PlayStation is. PSN rather, PlayStation Network. This is crazy. This is ridiculous. I never expected anything like this to happen.
No, I didn't expect anything like this to happen, but the more that I think about it, I feel like that Microsoft is making a power play. We already talked about what they're doing in regards to buying up studios.
Yeah.
And I think that they realized that it very similar to the Microsoft model. I mean, we're talking about Microsoft here. Yeah. If I can't win at selling you the hardware, I'm going to make sure that my software is everywhere, and or you're buying, I'm connected to you. So instead of maybe winning the war next generation in regards to Xbox versus PlayStation, they may not win the war in regards to consumerism. But if people are buying PlayStation online, then that is pulled from Microsoft, so Microsoft's getting money. So it's almost to me as if they're saying, we don't have to win the war in a conventional, from a conventional standpoint. We can make money off of the other people who are making money.
If you can't beat them, buy them.
It's crazy smart.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of Apple and Samsung.
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, and I don't know if this is still the case. I don't know about their current. I don't keep up with their current dealings in terms of like what Apple gets from Samsung. But in 2017, Apple was buying their OLED screens from Samsung. Like that's what's always makes me laugh so much every time the phone war comes up. Not to take this in a completely different direction, but whenever the phone war comes up, it's always Apple versus Samsung, and this whole couple of years there that was going on was that Apple was buying screens from Samsung. So Samsung was benefiting off of you buying Samsung phones. Samsung was benefiting off of you buying Apple phones. Microsoft could be making the same exact play. Like, no matter what, we're winning.
Well, they know there's certain people that they're not going to turn completely to their product. Sure. But they also know that there are people like myself who are going to have both. So if I'm going to have both, and I'm going to have both services, why not be part of that pie? I mean, you're to be essentially taking a small piece, but still a piece of your competition's profit, and money that would not be coming to you elsewhere otherwise. So I think it's very smart. It's funny that the people at PlayStation didn't know. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, so I tagged this story on there from Push Square afterwards, is that this was very much a deal at the top. Like this wasn't PlayStation necessarily making this deal, even though PlayStation is Sony. Sony and Microsoft made this deal. Like, so if for those of you who don't know, even though those words are in front of both things, I can't speak for the Xbox side, but like Xbox and PlayStation are divisions of a much bigger company. And we don't know anything about how the Xbox employees took it, but the PlayStation employees apparently had no idea that this was going to happen. And not that it necessarily affects them in any way, but it's kind of a weird thing whenever you've been in a console war for the last when did 360 and man 20 years, like so they've been
Xbox One,
actively competing with this company. I mean Xbox versus PS2, I guess. So that's got to be what, 04. Man, when did Xbox come out?
I honestly, I want to say it was 2001, but yeah, you can double check me. I mean, yeah, you've been in a war, and I think that this is becoming more of a mature battleground, if you will, where the two don't have to. They can play nice and still both make money. They don't have to say, "Look, we're the better gaming system." The Xbox One X and PS4 Pro, okay, we can hash out which one's the better hardware in regards to which one looks better, but at the same time, we're getting to the point now where the graphics are so similar on the different platforms that it doesn't really matter as much. I mean, you can have either one, and you're still gonna. What's that?
What year did you say?
2001.
You were right.
Oh, okay.
Original Xbox 2001, PS2 2000.
There you go.
No, I think you're absolutely right. There's a point to where, I mean, the thing about this that is always hard for a guy like me, because if you haven't gotten it from me enough, competition breeds innovation.
It does.
And so if it would be very bad if Xbox dropped out of the race in the next generation. Yeah. If they stop making games, that's not good for us as gamers, because that means that leaves a vacuum that then Sony and hopefully still and probably will be Nintendo filling that hole, and Xbox just being like, well, you're using our services, so
yeah. No, Nintendo won't do it. Isn't that type of player anymore. They used to be that type of player, but they've not been playing the same competition that we've been playing since N64. They decided we're just going to do our own thing. They didn't realize they were doing it with N64, but with Wii, they did. They totally knew. They were like, we're going to do our own thing. Like, I mean, you could think about whatever metaphor you want, but
what's side?
They're not really competing anymore. They're just like, hey, we're making really good stuff, and the Switch is great. But
I think they're so competitive.
But what I'm saying is, like, if someone's talking about playing video games and you're talking about competition, usually we're talking about PC versus Xbox versus PlayStation, and then Switch is a kind of a different category. It's still gaming. It's not maybe not quite. It's not a graphics hog, and there's a lot of things that aren't going to come to it. And I think that's where it's playing. I wouldn't say it's playing behind. Wii U is playing behind a generation. The Switch is like, we'll bring stuff on here that's good and do our own thing, and it's going to be awesome. And it's working really well for them. Fun
fact about Switch, they have now officially outsold PlayStation 4 in the country of Japan.
Yeah.
What crazy about this, like, so PlayStation 4 originally launched in North America first for like the first time. Especially for a company based like Sony in Japan, but they have like 8 million consoles sold in Japan, which if you like work that out, that's an attach rate of like 1 in 10 Japanese people have a PlayStation 4. But the Switch has outsold that, so even more than 1 in 10 people own a Nintendo Switch in Japan, which that's where I think they may not be competitive in the way that we're thinking, where like you're not going to get the biggest AAA experience from the Nintendo system, but there's still definitely competition there. We've seen the outcry the last year, and I have been one of those people who tweets and pesters developers whenever they announce a game, and I'm like, so when are you going to put it on Switch?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it's been my console of choice for the past like year or so. It's just so convenient. I mean, I love playing my PlayStation and everything. My Xbox gets turned on every now and then. I think I polled you this recently that since I started using Plex, and shout out to Robert for helping me out on that, by the way, hooked up Plex. It was crazy easy, so I play my media off that. Well, I was playing my media off the Xbox before, so I haven't turned the Xbox on in like a week and a half. Sorry, a little over a week, and I'm like, let's see how long it takes before I turn my Xbox on. How much am I actually playing Xbox versus playing PlayStation? Because I don't play it as near as often. It's an amazing piece of hardware, but the PlayStation the games I'm playing are on PlayStation more often than not. So
that's why Microsoft's saying, "Hey, PlayStation, you remember that purchase that you made with Gaikai? Well, how about we kick it up a notch?"
Yeah, and PlayStation's even in the news as well, Sony announcing PlayStation Productions, making money, making movies, and starting out with Twisted Metal.
They actually confirm this?
That's what it sounds. That's what I was reading, unless I'm mistaken. The Twisted Metal was the first one on their. I mean, not to say it's the first one that we're going to see, but I can double check that. But I believe that's the first one, and in my opinion, this could be a problem, because when it comes to movies, if you're not doing animated, because animated obviously is going to be a great fit for them, but if they're not doing animated, they're doing live action, and you don't have a good enough budget in regards to script, in regards to effects, it can end up looking like trash, like the Blood Rain movies or the House of the Dead movies or anything Uwe Boll's ever touched. I'm worried about it, because video games are so hard to do right anyways, video game movies are so hard to do right that I'm hopeful. I mean, again, it's going to be a great revenue stream for them. But doing movie, TV, what do you think?
I just don't see the point. Like, especially with all of the now there's some good kids movies in there, for sure. You can make a Crash movie, you can make a Spyro movie, you can make a Spyro Netflix show. You can do whatever you want there, but half their studios right now write video games that are movies. Like, you play through an Uncharted game. Like, okay, you want to watch a movie? Go watch Indiana Jones. There's plenty of them. They're fantastic. Skip Crystal Skull unless it's on cable. So that's Uncharted. Yes, there's no movie, like, there's no real movie equivalent of The Last of Us, or there might be, but The Last of Us is perfect. By itself, it's 10. Why would you threaten making a movie out of that? Even things like Horizon. Horizon is a fantastic thing, and it would be cool to see those robots in like some kind of cool like animation. But the game is great. God of War is great. Like, you have these epic games that you make cinematic quality. Like, that's what your studios do. What IP are you going to use to make a TV show? Unless you're doing like kid stuff like a Spyro. I could see a Spyro cartoon that sounds cute as hell, and I'll watch it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And also you have to think, like, are you cannibalizing your own market, or not necessarily the market, but cannibalizing your own IPs and storylines in saying, we're going to do an Uncharted movie. We've been talking about that for 8 years? They've been talking about doing an Uncharted movie. They've been talking about...
It's called Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's called Indiana Jones, exactly right. The Lara Croft movie, the Tomb Raider movie, I thought was decent. The new one, I should say.
The new one?
Yeah, the new-ish one.
Okay. I mean, they're making a sequel, so obviously they made enough money off of it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was decent. I don't think it's amazing. It's nowhere near on the level of so many of the other movies that we're watching nowadays, and TV shows. I mean, I feel like these stories... I mean, I could also argue that... I mean, I'm excited about Witcher coming out, and at the same time, you could be like, well, you can play the games. Yes.
Or it could be based off the books.
It could be, which is very different than the movie, than the video game. So
in the video game,
in that case, like, if you have something that's deep enough, okay, sure. But if you're doing an Uncharted movie, are we doing a play-by-play of like Uncharted 1 and 2, or what are we taking to base it off of? You're going to completely make it up. I don't know. I agree with you. I don't see a full-on reason as to, or I should say, I don't think this may make the money that they want it to, and it may end up being a dumpster fire, which I really hope that it's not.
I'll play the advocate on myself for a second, in that a couple weeks ago, I got not upset, but like, the people who are torching Sonic, like, why do you care? It's not made for you. So like, that's the same thing with Spyro. Like, we don't care about Sonic. The movie was going to suck. Like, it's made for kids, and kids will probably still love it. There could be some stuff where if they end up making something good, awesome. Like, that's great. The video game movie world is not very full of gems or anything, but if we expect it to suck, maybe we're more like maybe we're more apt to be pleasantly surprised, like Detective Pikachu was.
Sure.
And if they suck, well, we expected them to suck, so I'll just go play the game again. That's the other side of it. But right now, I just don't see why you would throw money at it. Whenever you have, just make more games.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm like, if we did a Horizon movie, I'm like, give me a Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Or Horizon Second Dawn. I mean, Zero Dawn, I don't know. First Dawn, I don't know what they want to call it. But I want more Horizon. I'd rather have more
Zero Dusk.
Zero Dusk. I'd rather have more a sequel, which I've heard that they're doing. I haven't heard that.
They started it almost immediately. As soon as it was a success, they started the sequel. That's a PlayStation. Like, PlayStation 5 launching with Horizon 2. Like, I'm calling
Horizon 2 and Death Stranding, like, within the same year would be so huge. And they're going to pull up something else. Like, they're going to have some... I would love for them to... Whatever what is it, Sucker Punch, and like a couple of those other studios like bring on their projects to launch on PlayStation 5, or at least within the first 6 months of launch for PlayStation.
With Sucker Punch, that might happen.
Yeah.
With Samurai game.
Oh,
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima. That may happen if it's delayed.
That's Sucker Punch's next game, and so and we were expecting it sooner, and they're like, nope, sorry.
Yeah.
It's not coming this year.
Yeah. So you may be right on that. We talk about loot boxes a lot in this game. We talk about microtransactions, but the reason that we do it is because we've been wanting people to understand the gravity of this, and there's been legislation in Europe, and it actually worked, kind of.
It's Belgium again, right?
Was it Belgium? I thought it was... it's Belgium for this one, sorry.
Yep.
So Belgium... Nintendo's pulled Animal Crossing Pocket Camp because of the regulations. So I'm not necessarily saying that's a good thing, but I want developers... I think it's a good thing in regards to developers understanding, like, they need to make sure that they're marketing this properly. In a game like Animal Crossing, you could argue, I would not think that one could argue that this is not geared towards kids, as well as adults who love Animal Crossing. There's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, I've seen a lot of kids that like Animal Crossing, and to take these kind of games.
Of course, it's adorable.
I'm not saying anything wrong with it. I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's adorable, it's great, it's cute, and if you want to take that and then put microtransactions into it in loot boxes, there may be some problems. I mean, we can argue, I think you and I have argued ad nauseum about, well, just don't give them your money, don't put your credit card in there. I get it, but to me, if it's predatory practices, I feel like there needs to be some type... I think you and I are on the same page on this, like just having kind of a warning label on it, or a label to say, hey, it's rated T for teen or whatever, because it has loot boxes / gambling, or whatever you want to call it. Microtransactions are one thing, but loot boxes are essentially gambling. And I think that if you're going to rate a game like what was it? I think the first Red Dead Redemption had that as part of the one of the reasons it was rated mature was gambling. I think loot boxes should be, as part of the rating system, automatically bring it up to T for teen, and then immediately, like that's my opinion about it.
So the fact that this happened in Belgium makes this. I mean, they're not the first company to do this. So they pulled two games. They pulled both Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem Heroes, for those of you who play that game as well. So they pulled both of those games off the market in Belgium. Blizzard had this problem with loot boxes, because this is something Belgium introduced. Well, Blizzard, I think, completely removed... I don't know how they removed it, but they removed it from Overwatch in Belgium.
That's interesting.
And then I believe Valve ran into an issue, I want to say maybe with CSGO. It could have been something else, but they ran into problems there. So I don't like this legislation. You can actually see an article that I posted today on TheLanCave, facebook.com/TheLanCave, because there is currently legislation on the table for the United States about not removing them and banning them, but with somehow, unenforceably so, making it to where you have to be 18 or older to purchase a loot box. I don't know how they're going to pull that off, but whatever. I don't like it because I think it can affect things long term for the online marketplace of video games. Like,
sure.
You talk to a lot of these legislators, they don't even know what a loot box is.
No,
they don't know what the difference between a loot box and something that gives you like a level up, for example, like if you're playing Candy Crush, where you can just buy lives,
sure,
so that you can like keep playing, or like play, pay to skip like that. Yeah, that's a microtransaction. So where's the line? Where does it stop? Like, who enforces like it's a loot box?
Sure,
it's a microtransaction. Can you have something that has any amount of chance or randomness to it, or does it have to be exactly like for the future where it's like you can buy this one thing, like, this is you can only buy items versus buying random.
I'll say if Randy Pitchford can't figure out what the difference between microtransactions and loot boxes are, then yeah, the legislators are going to have problems with that too.
So I don't like the direction that it could go. I'm with you that everything should be labeled. If there's a potential, just like if you go into App Store and everything, a lot of adults don't pay attention to this, but if you see in-app purchases, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to purchase, but you need to be watching out for those with your kids, because that means that there's a possibility that there's a button in there that they could buy stuff. I just don't necessarily like the precedent of completely banning them. But yes, everything should be labeled. If there's a chance to pay money, then yes, you should be able to see that. I don't like the direction we're going. To me, it's a form of control that isn't necessary. I think somebody even commented on the article that I posted today, where it's like, this is up to the parents, and this is where I'm at. Like, you need to pay attention. Like, this is a technological world. Pay attention to what your kids are doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I will say, having jumped in, because I meant to mention this earlier on in the game, like I jumped into playing Grand Theft Auto Online again. And I barely played before. Like, I played just a tiny bit. Started playing more, and one of my coworkers specifically has been trying to pull me in on it for a long time. So I'm like, yeah, I may do that. If I do it, I may get it on a discount and buy like a shark card, so I get a little bit of a boost at the beginning, just so I can start playing heists and stuff with them, because that's when you get more money. That being said, as soon as I load up, what's that?
And that's what's fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The heists are great. So, so I'm like, I load up and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just start playing again, because I hadn't played like in forever. So I'm like, fresh character, whatever, because the last one that I had, my nephew was playing. And I jump on there, and I am the oldest person playing the game by at least 20 years. And we're talking about a game that's not rated for kids, and everybody that I was on playing with, the oldest person other than me was 17. Yeah.
Don't you love those moments?
Yeah, and I'm like, not only do I feel old, I'm like, I'm literally on the game. Some kids, the way that his insult that he kept giving was, "You need to learn to drive." So finally, after like 5 or 6 to 10 times of him saying it, I said, "You can't even drive yet. You don't have a license." But he still kept saying, I mean, like I know, but like he was trying to insult people, like, learn to drive. I'm like, you're 7. I mean, he was between 7 and 8. Like, could not have been 9 or 10. And again, like, the parents should be watching the kid. And I will say that he didn't use any curse words, sure, but he's playing a game, he's driving around, and he's shooting people, and he's a high enough level that he's been doing it for quite a while. So yeah, that's bad parenting. I still think that it needs to be in a label. So you and I are kind of on the same page on that. Anyways, we had some interesting news about Call of Duty as well. So for those of you who don't know, behind the scenes, Call of Duty was previously going between 3 different studios prior to this. They're changing it up, and essentially, I'm trying to kind of give the Reader's Digest version of this, but basically it's going to end up being between 2 studios, or Treyarch is essentially going to be the main studio. So Treyarch will have every other year as opposed to every 3 years. Treyarch's been doing the Black Ops games. So the past 15 years, I think, we've had a Call of Duty game every single year. I think this is going to be interesting, because it's just going to be interesting to see how they move forward, only having, say, 2 years to flesh out a Call of Duty game.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, Call of Duty is developed by 3 people, or not 3 people, that'd be crazy. 3 studios. So Activision is Big Daddy Company, and the people developing Call of Duty are Sledgehammer, Treyarch,
and Infinity Ward.
I'm sorry?
Infinity Ward,
yeah. So that means every 3 years you're getting a Call of Duty from one of those studios.
Yep.
So 2020 Call of Duty was just taken. That's crazy. I'm wondering, is that now studio going to close? Which one did they take it from? Who lost
So
Call of Duty?
that would have been Treyarch, if I'm not mistaken. Treyarch would have, no, Sledgehammer. Sorry, Sledgehammer would have been the next one on the rotation, if you will. So instead of coming out from Sledgehammer, it's going to come out from Treyarch. So it's going to be next Black Ops.
That's bad for Sledgehammer,
Yeah.
That's real. About a significant source of income, and I don't even know if Sledgehammer, like, if they make anything else, and if they don't,
so
I'm pretty sure they only do Call of Duty. Like, that studio's screwed.
Yeah, they previously did the original Dead Space. But
that'd be awesome.
I mean, they've done. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think they have the rights to it anymore. Because that was prior to it. But they've done stuff earlier, but they've basically only been doing Call of Duty games for the past few rotations for the past, say, 8 years or so. Yeah, it really sucks for them. I really hope that that this was a play to get them onto something else. I don't know if there's some more political stuff going on behind the scenes where the team was either not cutting it, or, I mean, it'd be really horrible if they just were not making it up to snuff, and they had to bring in Treyarch to finish the job. In that case, the next Call of Duty games is going to be rough, if that's the case.
What's crazy about this is just another thing from Activision. So those of you who don't, again, Activision's big daddy company. Earlier, they split, was that near the beginning of the year with Bungie?
Yeah.
Was that it? So that was January that they split with Bungie. Now, I'm not saying they're splitting from Sledgehammer, but this you can tell that there's something going on in Call of Duty wise. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily political, but it's everything Activision does is for money.
Sure.
They print money. They don't care about the rest of it. And what's crazy is that Call of Duty sales have declined, but even in declining, they were still like the number 2 game last year.
Oh yeah.
And one of their titles was like so they had World War II the previous year, and that sold all the way up until Black Ops 4 came out. And then Black Ops 4 came out and instantly became one of the best-selling games of the year. So that's what's crazy to me about business. Whenever you look at this, is that they are still making tons of money, but there's a chance that they could be making more. So
it's like Red Dead Redemption 2. Made a lot of money. It made more than expected, but still not enough to the point where their stock went down. The Rockstar stock went down because it's not Grand Theft Auto.
Sales protection. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, yeah. There's sales. Yeah.
That's where I hate stocks.
No, what? What's that?
That's where I hate stock. I hate the way stock works. Like, you can be successful, you can be profitable, and your stock can go down.
Yeah, Activision. It's happened to Activision too. I'm like, what? Why would this go down? A company like that should have a trend up, a trend down, but relatively be stable. When you see a huge drop, I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. Just to go right back up. But it's just dumb.
I know Call of Duty's a running joke. Sorry, I know you're about to transit. I know Call of Duty's a running joke. They make great games. They make well-made shooters. But I think that this is a sign of the times where Call of Duty ain't the staple that it used to be. There's so many different games out there, and now the online multiplayer space is different now too, with battle royales. And even though Black Ops 4 had a battle royale, it still was quickly dropped for people to go back to Fortnite, and people are still playing Apex. And it shows that Call of Duty needs to change, or it is going to have even further declining sales in the future, just because it's not still necessarily number 1, even though it's still number 1.
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. It's still going to make money, but they're going to have to evolve. And yeah, it's just going to have to happen. They're still going to make money, and what's also still going to make money is Nintendo. And apparently Mario Kart mobile game leaked. So we've known that there was going to be not necessarily Mario Kart, but we knew that we were going to get some Mario or Nintendo mobile games. There's just some leaked artwork, or leaked screenshots, I should say.
Yeah.
we've known for a while that Nintendo was exploring the mobile market. They did the Infinite Runner thing with Mario,
which is fun.
But yeah, it was really fun. But this sounds even more fun in my opinion. I think even a better fit. So it was leaked. It was pictured from images leaked from a closed beta.
Yeah.
It looks fun to me. It looks like from what I've seen of the screenshots, it looks like the controls are going to be pretty easy to do, which is great because a mobile game needs to have simple, straightforward controls in order to work. That's why Pokemon Go was so successful. The controls were so straightforward. Anyone could play it. And yeah, you could talk about like technique about throwing the balls, but sure, anyone could grasp it and play it. And I think this would be a win if this comes onto the market for $5. They're gonna make so much money. I think $5 or so would be what I'd price point it at. Oh, what about you?
I mean, I think it'll be $9.99. I think you'll be able to download it for free to get the first. Like
first couple
you know how Super Mario Kart has cups, so maybe the first cup for free.
Oh yeah, that would hook everyone. Nintendo, if you're listening, do that because everyone will download it, which will look really good for your charts. Everyone will download it, everyone will play it, and it will hook them. Because didn't the Mario Runner kind of have a similar thing where it was free to download and then you had to pay, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, it has like the first world or whatever to get you into enjoying the running, and then after that, I paid for it, so I don't remember what it was. It was either $4.99 or $9.99. Yeah. Did it not bother you that it was vertical?
Yes, it did bother me, especially, and I know people could argue like, but that's how people hold their phones. Yes, but at the same time, this is how you drive.
Yeah.
And if I'm holding like this and my controls are like this, they don't even have to be like, I mean, gyroscopic would be really cool. It'd be amazing for when it comes to Mario Kart, but yeah, it would make so much more sense for it to be horizontal.
Yeah, like two thumbs, like having two kind of like sticks, one for like steering, and you have cut some kind of like a go/drift stick.
Yeah.
But the way that they show it, like, it is going to be stupid simple. It's going to be like one finger, that's your driving. Like, it might go on its own. Who knows? I'm assuming it does because that's how they're going to make it super simple.
Yep.
This is a great game to go to mobile. Like, this is something where it's easy to sync up. The thing that they got to get right, they got to get this right now, is that I need to be able to be near people, like my friends. And like, it's not going to happen very often, but it's going to happen at least whenever it comes out. I need to be able to give you a code. You're going to join my cup. We're going to race against each other on our phones while we're drinking. And it's going to be a good time. Or even across it doesn't even have to necessarily be, in proximity. But I should be able to give you like a code that's like mushroom, star, fire flower. And you should be able to join my race and race against your friends. If it doesn't have that is a big mistake in my opinion. Make this a friendship thing, just like it is in real life. The reason why Mario Kart is such a beloved franchise, it is one of the greatest party games of all time. Mm-hmm. It's there with Smash. Mario Party is definitely lower on the list because Mario Party is so time consuming. But Mario Kart, the staple of, is kicking your friend's butt.
Yeah.
Get Yoshi, I call Yoshi for life, by the way. Yoshi getting in there and destroying everyone. That is Mario Kart. So you better be able to do that on mobile.
No, I agree. I'm excited about it. I think it's a perfect fit.
Day one buy.
Oh yeah, total day one buy for me. As Mario Kart is, it will be on mobile as well. Total day one buy. Speaking of day one buys, we talked a lot about Epic Store in the past in regards to some of their practices, in regards to them giving more profits to the developers, and there's a lot of positives on that. But we're seeing some publishers pull their games from the store. There's been a lot of different reasons as to why. One of the biggest reasons is that the company will have Epic Game Store will have a sale, similar to how Steam has a sale, but Epic does not ask the publishers or developers or I guess publishers is all they have to ask. They don't ask. It's not up to the publishers. Epic will put your game on sale for you without you consenting. That
no consent in 2019. You think you'd learn something?
So you really would think. To me, immediately when I felt I realized the ramifications of that, because we're talking about discounting games that just came out or are about to come out. If you're doing that, you're devaluing that. If I see a game that it's like, wait, it's $10 off and it came out last week, immediately I think must not be that good. Like, why would you discount it before the game came out or shortly after it came out? So developers are pulling some of their games, or pulling them just completely, pulling out of Epic. It hasn't been a complete exodus, but that's not a good fit. That's really not good. Yeah, so Epic had
so it's funny because it was the mega sale, so it was the Epic mega sale.
Yeah.
That was what it was called. And like he already said, no permission. One company even said like, hey, that's not cool, bro. And Epic said if the dev or the publisher doesn't want to participate in the sale, that they'll honor that decision. The weird part, I guess, is just not telling them like, hey, like you would think it would be like a yes or no situation. I don't work for Steam, so I can't speak to like how Steam sales work, but obviously Steam stuff goes on sale all the time. Everybody knows about the like their, what is it, quarterly that they do a big Steam sale. There's at least Christmas and like one during the summer.
I'm pretty sure it's quarterly or so, but yeah.
And so there's obviously something to that, because pretty much like it feels like everything except for maybe the newest stuff on Steam always goes on some sort of sale. So is that a situation where they'd be like, hey, give us the price that you want to discount it to? Or do they just say, hey, like check yes or no if you're allowing a discount? We use this algorithm that said it should be discounted by this percent. Like, who knows how that all works, but you'd think there would have to be some kind of communication that happens, but it could have also been a thing like terms of service that only lawyers read, where it's like, hey, you agreed to be on our store, and this is
publishers
in your terms of use.
Like, you have legal teams for this reason. So I think that some of the studios maybe they're, or some of the publishers may not be as big, but at the same time they have to have some type of communication one way or another, is to say, hey, this is going to go on sale, or we want to put your game on sale. If not, they have to be prepared for it anyways. Coupling that with the fact that some people have been banned for buying too many games at once, or making too many purchases. Now I've heard it that was too many purchases within a specific amount of time. Essentially, they were banning people, which I don't know exactly why they would block or ban someone for this. I'm trying to think from a fraudulent standpoint. How does that sound like fraud if you're buying the product that is attached to your account? You can't I haven't seen a way to resell it. Like, Steam has a way you can gift things. But I don't see how you'd be making money off this. I don't understand.
So, I mean, I get it. I get the point. Like, whatever system they have in place, that something with this, and apparently he's not the only one, but there was some streamer who bought 5 games in very close proximity to each other, and his account was flagged. Why don't you just require passwords for purchasing? Like, I mean, I get it. Like, hey, thanks for protecting my account. That's the positive side of this. Like, hey, they thought somebody maybe stole my credentials and was buying video games. That's what the system did.
Send an email to me, or send a text. It's amazing how many companies nowadays use text. I love it.
Was this you?
Yeah, I'll get a text. Hey, did you spend this money? Yeah, it's me. Okay, you're good. Like, my bank did that. Like,
on my credit card, it doesn't stop the transaction, but what it does is I have a price thing in there where if I spend over $200, I get a text message just saying, hey, there was a purchase that was just made on your card for over your threshold.
Yeah.
If this isn't you, call us, and that's it. That's the best thing. Like, and so they obviously need a better system in place, because this sucks. Like, somebody just get, like, they're participating in your mega sale, which is what this happened during. The guy was doing the epic mega sale that you were trying to make money off of, and you said no.
Well, here's the other thing that people aren't taking into account on this. The Epic Game Store does not have a cart right now.
I'm getting really tired of that with certain companies, and they're not the only ones, dude. Like,
Xbox doesn't have a cart either.
Anything digital, like, it's not cool. PlayStation does it. Good job, PlayStation. Yes. You do something right, like, online wise. But like, if you go to Amazon or something, right? If you try and buy like Kindle, you can't multiple Kindle books at the same time. You buy one Kindle book, you buy another Kindle book, and they're getting. I hate it because they're getting taxes off of every single transaction. Even though I guess theoretically it would be the same, but just let me bundle it up and have one charge.
I agree, but yeah, in comparison to Steam, in comparison to PlayStation, Amazon. He probably was going through and he was like, I want to buy these games, realized I can put them on the cart. So yeah, it's 5 separate transactions. Now I could see if you had a cart and all of a sudden you started getting transactions quickly, I could see some type of warning system, but you don't have a cart. You don't have a way for people to bundle together. Xbox is the same. Xbox is the same way. So yeah, I can't throw stuff into a cart and then buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, I also don't like that Switch does it either. Like, Switch doesn't have a card either. It does make you, like, Switch makes you confirm with some code or another, generally speaking, to make a purchase. But I don't know why it started trending this way, where, especially during sales, like, that's the time where most of the time I do buy one game at a time. That is how it goes. But during a sale, I kind of want to add all those games up. I want to see, like, hey, I gave myself $100 to spend during this sale. What am I at? Oh, I'm at $96.50. Okay, cool. Is there anything else? I got $3.50 left. Whereas buying one game at a time, I now go through this thing and I'm like, how much did I just spend?
Yeah,
because I have no idea.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's bad for Epic, man. They're I think they'll get it. I think they have enough money to throw at this problem.
Oh yeah,
they'll get it right in the long run. But they're definitely facing, like, that thing where, like, somebody over at Valve was just watching this and like, man, this feels like 20 years ago. It's 20 years ago. My time machine, guys. Like, I got the time machine over there. Mm-hmm. I put some plutonium in it, and hey, just kicking it. Epic, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Yeah, to me, I mean, it's new to them. I'll put it that way. It's new to them. This is a new territory for them. Yes, they have enough money. This is going to be fine. It's going to blow over eventually, but they need to learn from what they're doing. They need to make a cart. There's just certain things that, to me, don't make any sense to not have nowadays. You mentioned, like, the Steam sale, like like spending $50 on Steam, like during one of those sales, you could be buying a ton of games for that. And if they want to compete with Steam, then they better be ready for those kind of people to pile in, because especially if they're having their giant sales, people drop. I know it's an internet meme now, but like, people drop so much money on those Steam sales because you can save so much money instead of buying all the games throughout the year. It's like, I'll just buy them on the fall sale or whatever. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. They'll get there eventually, I think.
Which I'm going towards. I mean, that's what I look forward. I don't look, because Steam, I'm not the biggest PC player, as we all know, but PlayStation now does a very similar thing. Like, during November, right around Thanksgiving, and then during Christmas, there's a winter sale, and it's fat. I look forward to it every year, because everything that I don't want to buy right when it first comes out, because I'm going to buy from you day one, and then I have all these other publishers and the games that came out that you didn't hear about, and then
cut out there.
To just buy them all.
Sorry,
time.
You just cut out there.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
That's rude.
But the sentiment was there. Yeah, it's like this.
Give us carts.
Give us carts. We want to buy all your games. Why won't you let us give you money? So, Anyways, that's it for the news this week. Let us know in the comments what you think about that. Are you going to frequent the Epic Game Store? Do you even care about the Epic Game Store? Are you a console player? And what are you going to watch now that Game of Thrones is over? I'm watching Deadwood. How about you?
I've been watching Gilmore Girls.
All right.
Yeah. I literally went to Netflix and I like looked at like shows that had like 6+ seasons that were not inherently negative shows because it's just the vibes. And I was like, hey, you remember that that CW show that lots of people loved called Gilmore Girls? Owen, you're gonna check that out right now.
Yeah. You know what? I will say I could joke, but it has some really good dialogue. I mean, I'll say that.
And speaking of the old school, before we leave, I've hooked up my SNES Classic to my laptop. Got that streamer card going. I also streamed some Sea of Thieves last week as well. But what I'm curious about is if I was gonna play an SNES game either this week or next week, what game on there would everybody be interested in doing a little playthrough over at facebook.com/TheLanCave? Yeah. So if you have any comments on that, from the SNES Classic list, I have not hacked mine. It is just the stock classic. If any of those games you feel like joining for a playthrough, let me know.
Yeah.
What you'd like.
Exactly. And I'll come up with some playthrough stuff at a later time. You got the SNES, I'll do the PlayStation maybe? We'll see. Anyways,
I want that Sega when it comes out.
The what? PlayStation 1?
No, I want the Sega when it comes out now. That lineup's looking nice.
Yeah, I've got that pre-ordered. I'm not even gonna lie. I got it pre-ordered. I don't even care. I was a Sega. I loved my Sega Genesis. I can't wait to play it.
Sega.
Yeah. See you guys later.